This is the Daily Wrestling News for December 8th, 2020. I am coming to you live from Minutes to Bell Time Studios on the beautiful Treasure Coast of the Sunshine State. My name is Ryan Joy, and I am joined today again by the owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Pick'em, where you can play against your friends or play against the universe. Karl, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Fun night at Raw last night. Fun night on your Facebook page, a discussion thread. It was good to talk to everybody, get your thoughts and feelings on Raw. So that was a lot of fun. I had a good time last night.
Yeah, we started last night on the Minutes to Bell Time Facebook group, a live discussion thread. Hopefully that becomes a tradition. I think we had some good participation. People chimed in throughout the night to, say boo and wish this happened, wish that didn't happen. And it was fun. Sarcastic comment here, sarcastic comment there. A lot of fun. Yeah,
John DeConnie constantly ribbing me on my fandom of The Miz. I said he was going to get the win last night, and he did. So you just never count out The Miz.
Yeah, he certainly did. Well, let me go through the agenda for today because we have a jam-packed show. We're going to go through Raw in detail, and then we're going to pivot from there and do the week's lineup of matches, tell you everything that's advertised for the rest of the week. And there is a lot, and there's still stuff that's not advertised. So stay tuned for that. We do have a couple of news items, but intermixed with all that, we have a special interview with Tony Capone of the North American Wrestling Alliance. If all goes as planned, he should be on around 10:30. We'll just find a logical break in the conversation and bring him in. Once that interview's up, that'll be the end of the show, and we'll move on from there. But until then, we'll work through the agenda as mentioned. But Al?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready to roll. I got my
caffeinated. He's got his caffeine. We're ready to roll. I'm going to ring the bell, and we're going to get into Raw. Okay, so our Rapid Raw review. Orton's promo got cut short by Bray Wyatt, who can't decide how to punish Randy at TLC. They agree to have a match later in the night. Nia Jax pumped up Shayna Baszler for her match against Asuka, which Baszler lost in 8 minutes and 28 seconds. When Asuka rolled up Baszler following several distractions. Lana did not go through a table. Next week, we have Lana versus Nia Jax. Al, the only thing we know about next week, and the storyline's been building for 3 months, going to be the main event segment of the show next week.
I guess it would have to be, right? I mean, who were Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, or who's Drew McIntyre? Throw Lana and Nia in the main event. That's it.
Well, it's when I think about it, it's we've had at least 9 table spots, and we haven't had that in the last 2 weeks. So my easy math says that's just about 3 months of build for this match. It's the hottest thing on the card, I think. So it's got to be the main event.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, Lana was this close to going to it again last night. She actually Hurricane Lana out of that powerbomb predicament. She was almost went through it again.
Lana's good for a move here and a move there. I think Hurricane Lana, that's a hard thing to say, but that's pretty creative. Ricochet and Dana Brooke defeated Reckoning and Slapjack in 142. Ali read them the riot act afterward. I'm wondering if this point, if Retribution is short-lived. Are we seeing them fall apart now?
It seems like that. It's almost like we don't know what to do with them, so let's just I guess break them. It's a really weird situation. A lot of rumors going around. A lot of SpongeBob-worthy rumors getting started a while ago about Retribution, and they're not doing anything with them. They're not using them correctly. No one's. I kind of just chalk that up to just wrestling fans, thinking they know, more than the people that are writing it. But that's twice now that Mia Yim Reckoning. I think I got it right this time. She got red. Yeah, she just got reamed out for the loss.
Second week in a row. So I don't know if that's leading to them breaking up or them like solidifying and then going on a run. It's kind of hard to say, but it certainly seems like they're teasing a breakup.
Or at least kicking Mia Yim out. It seems like I don't know. That's 2 pinfalls in a row now. That she lost to Dana Brooke. Now it's Slapjack. He got some of it too, but he wasn't involved in the decision.
Away, the match. The bell rings. First thing Dana Brooke does is slap her right in the face.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure she was going to pull the mask off. I thought that was going to be like the new Reckoning / Mia Yim gimmick, was pulling that mask off. And then a few minutes later in Insanguri, I thought that was going to take it off too. But she did keep the mask on the whole time, which is sad considering last week I thought it was the end. But
yeah, maybe she uses some double-sided tape or something to keep it on her face. I know the women use it for other parts, so they don't fall out.
Yeah. Well, that's that. AJ Styles was the guest on Miz TV, which led to Sheamus and Drew coming down to clear the ring. AJ bailed. He didn't get involved in the conflict. Kofi Kingston defeated Shelton Benjamin in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, just to lose to Cedric in 4 minutes and 21 seconds. So Cedric and Shelton look like they're going after the New Day's tag titles, but nothing's been announced at this point. Maybe a TLC. We'll see.
Yeah, and Cedric's been feeling himself. That's 2 wins in a row over each member of the New Day. Not to mention, when you beat a former WWE champion, that says something to me. Cedric's been, I think the MVP said it backstage when they were walking, you're feeling yourself lately, and he has been. So good.
Yeah. It certainly is something when you pin a former champion. They don't necessarily make that up to be a big deal all the time, but man,
yeah,
not everybody gets to pin Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
The Miz, Morrison, and AJ Styles defeated Drew McIntyre and Sheamus in 15:44 when Sheamus accidentally bro-kicked McIntyre. Styles used the phenomenal forearm to get the pin on Sheamus.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, Miz. Our conflict doesn't end there. Sheamus and Drew got in a big fight backstage, and when Pat Buck tried to break things up, he got his clothes ripped off and then powerbombed through a table. And here's my question.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is known for rewriting Raw up to and during the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Pat Buck arrived at the building, Vince saw the suit he was wearing and said, you know what would be great television? It was kind of fun, though. I really, they were on Raw Talk afterwards, joking around. They're all buddy. Maybe they split. Maybe we get this for the next 3 months before they do, though. That'd be great.
Yeah, it is, because they hash it out. I guess that's the Irish / Scottish way. I've never been over there. Maybe we can talk to Gary. Even if he hit somebody by accident, and that's grounds to throw down in a pub over there. So, they went at it. They hashed it out, and they were laughing about it afterwards. After I guess the old Buck, right? I guess old Bucks.
Yeah.
They were trying hard to get that shirt and jacket off. That looked like it was hurting him.
Ever since they started talking backstage, it was everybody's been like, okay, they're obviously going to break up, and at some point they obviously will. But it occurs to me that perhaps they do an extended run, and maybe they go, to not have Drew defend that WWE Championship week in, week out. Maybe they do a series of tag matches, and maybe they get in a tag angle with the Hurt Business or something if those tag titles change hands. So a lot they can do with this before they do the big split. But obviously now they're referring to Drew McIntyre as the Scottish Warrior, contrasted with the Celtic Warrior. Yep. So something is afoot here.
Yeah, and it seems like it's I think they're going to extend it only because they keep bringing in Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Telling us, you're going to break, you're going to split, you're going to turn on, So it's like everyone's thinking it, but then if they weren't saying it or if they weren't having Keith Lee say it, then I'd say okay, they're thinking we're stupid because we know Sheamus is a D-hole. Mm-hmm. But no, if they're going to bring it to our attention, they're going to go the other way with it, I think, for a while.
I mean, maybe Sheamus wins the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't think he'd be a dark horse for that, but
that'd be a huge, that's an illustrious list, 2-time winners.
Yeah.
That's a very elite club.
And most of the 2-time winners did it 2 years in a row. So.
Yeah, 2 of them. 2 out of this. I think there's probably like 6 or 7, let's say. 3 of them.
I'll go back and do the research.
Hogan and Michaels.
Who'd you say? Hogan, Michaels?
Hogan, Michaels, and then Austin. Austin did it. He won 97, 98.
Okay.
Where you want to get another one. Yeah, so the three, I think there's only like seven of them.
Okay. We'll have those updated statistics for you tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I know it's 3. I know that. I just think 7 or 8.
So Lashley defeated Jeff Hardy in 13-11 with the Hurt Lock. Matt Riddle all night trying to give out some bro nuts, and he was at ringside during the match. It looks like we may have Hardy and Matt Riddle teaming up to go against the Hurt Business as well. And Riddle has suggested the name Hardy Bros. He acknowledges that the Hardy Boys existed, but they could be bros.
They could be bros. Yeah, that makes 100%. Yeah,
makes a ton of sense.
Go to bro nuts. Why not? That works with 2 T's.
Right. And then in the final segment or final match, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, that ended 13 minutes. Pretty much no contest. Randy Orton hit the RKO, rolled over, lights went out. Bray magically turned into the Fiend and held Randy in the mandible claw until the show went off the air. And that was Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy because we saw Impact do the similar thing with Su Yung having the two. That was Raw was live. At least it said live in the corner of the screen. So that was a very quick change. The lights weren't out for all that long. Bray to get that match. That was anything, anything Impact can do, we can do better, I guess, right? That's what you get for.
I can't really explain that one unless it was taped, or at least that little bit of it was. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, it made for a cool moment.
Oh, 100%, sure. Yeah. The Su Yung moment was cool too. I feel like now WWE is just ripping off Impact.
Good stuff. So that's your Raw for last night. Let's move into what we have coming up for the week. So we've been talking about Impact. Impact has been in the news ever since last Wednesday. AEW World Champion Kenny Omega is going to appear. Al, spitballing here. Anything? What do you think he's got to say?
Yeah, today's Kenny Omega Day, right?
Yeah.
He owns the night tonight. Now, I don't know. He's going to say something. I don't think anybody's going to come out. I can't imagine. I mean, it seems like it would be up Eric Young's alley. Him and Joe Doring would come out because this is their world or whatever. And he doesn't belong there. Kenny doesn't go there. So, but I think it's just going to be an interview with Cal. I don't think a promo with Cal's involved, obviously. It'd be interesting. Maybe there is a war. There's rumors going around. It's just going to be a one-off, and then there's going to be a match on Impact between on Dynamite between the Good Brothers and the Bucks because AEW missed the boat on that, and I hope it's more than just a one-off on each show here. I would love for Kenny Omega to get a team of Impact guys and go to war here. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. When I look at the situation logically. Don Callis and Kenny Omega, they were at Dynamite last week. They could have just taped they don't necessarily need to go to the Impact Zone, right?
Yeah.
Like they could have just taped an interview or something there. Now that doesn't mean doesn't lead to things, but that could be all this is this week, and we have to stay vested. So last week, Impact's ratings were 166,000.
Yep.
Dynamite's was over 900,000.
Yep.
It was their biggest, pretty much almost their biggest of the year. I think they had one early in the year that was maybe bigger, but.
Well, Jericho was calling himself the million viewer man, so that was. I think they did hit 1 million at one point.
Yeah.
That's where the demo guy came from, right?
I mean, the question is how many of those AEW fans bleed over? Do we see Impact go double tonight, or is it?
It's going to be. It all depends on if everybody can find Access TV. Not everybody has access in their cable provider. A lot of people haven't even heard. What the hell is Access TV? Yeah, I mean, I said that when I started watching over the summer when I started covering for the Essential Wrestling Podcast. What the hell is Access TV?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, the 166,000. Some of them probably already are AEW fans.
Yeah,
but then you're going to have. It still nets you 600,000 fans at least. So, are they going to break Twitch, or are they going to watch? Are they gonna?
Twitch is going to be on an overload tonight. I think that's
Yeah. So that'll be. I think that ratings for Impact tonight will be interesting. It'll tell us what Kenny Omega means. I mean, really.
Yeah, it's a nice little promo, but let's call a spade here. You know, those viewers are nice, but SmackDown's pulling in over 2 million here. So let's
of course.
the fact that Jey Uso is running that show for 6 straight weeks, and the ratings have never been better.
Yeah, Raw and SmackDown still own the week. They have the largest rating poll for sure. Also on Impact tonight, we have Eric Young versus Cody Deaner. Brian Myers versus TJP, Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin, which that could be a dark horse for match of the week, really. That's a good match.
Yeah, that's a great match. Anytime the North and the Machine's Gun, it could be the other way too. It could have been Paige and Shelley. You'd be saying the same thing. Those are 4 guys that are just absolutely incredible. Like Impact, again, it's put the silliness aside. And I love the silliness. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that in a negative thing, but the guys can go. And that's the final resolution on Saturday night is going to be a really, really good show, good wrestling show.
Yeah. Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly versus Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's a tough call. John the Con is going saying triple. Yeah, I'll agree with that too. It's going to be somewhere maybe 500,000. Plus Twitch, so that's in the tag team championship tournament. That's going to be that's a toss up. In my view, I'm going to go Deonna. I'm not going to ever go against Deonna Purrazzo.
Is that because she's from where?
Oh, she's from Jersey. She's actually from my neck of the woods. She went to high school about 20 minutes from me.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah, you got to support your hometown crowd.
That's it.
I don't know the demon there, Rosemary.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this match without even the match even happening because Deonna's got the whole thing. Su Yung, I would say, is just out of the picture for this week coming up because she got taken away by Father James Mitchell and the bridesmaids last week. So I think you hold off on Su Yung escaping right away. So I think Deonna and Kimber are in the clear. Larry D said something really interesting last week when he was being, questioned by Tommy Dreamer. He was put up to it. So I don't think Larry D, Lawrence D, he pulled the trigger here. I don't think Rosemary's out of the woods yet, though.
Yeah. I almost forgot in amongst all the seriousness of the situation that Su Yung was abducted by zombie bridesmaids last week. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning into Impact tonight for the first time ever, buckle up. It's a fun ride. Now, interestingly, among this partnership, AEW is running dark again tonight, of course, and they have 16 matches, which means to me that they start at 7. And Impact starts at 8. It sounds to me like AEW might be competing against their new partner tonight.
It's I said Impact owns the night. They said you can click over to YouTube. They just said you can run a 16-match parlay if you're a gambler on Dark and be correct. So let's just you can hold off on Dark for one night and watch. Just
for kicks, at some point in the future, we should add an AEW Dark card to the EWP. Or the PWP website, and just see how many people go perfect, and see
that'd be the win percentage on that would be pretty crazy.
It'd be pretty high.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Major League Wrestling has a 4-match card. Simon Gotch and Jacob Fatu are challenging the Von Eriks for the Major League Wrestling tag team titles. If Fatu wins, he's a double champion and might be threatening for that head of the table's position in the bloodline.
Yeah, and the Inouye household, right? Is that the Inouye?
Yeah. I won't try.
Yeah.
Low Key versus Richard Holiday in the Opera Cup. It's a semifinal match. Calvin Tankman versus Zenshi, and then Dominic Guarini and Kevin Koo are debuting as a tag team, and Kevin Koo is debuting for the first time. So that's your MLW lineup. Starts at 7. It's your NXT Dynamite pre-show.
Triple X, baby. Go low key. Win that thing.
On NXT, Finn Balor returns. That's what we know right now. And then, of course, they all fall out for more games. So, on Dynamite, we have Tony Schiavone doing a lot of work this week. He is interviewing Shaquille O'Neal. He is interviewing Sting. The Young Bucks have TH2. Dustin Rhodes is facing Preston Vance. We have the Inner Circle's Ultimatum, which is fun to talk about. Are they going to break up, or are they going to get on the same page? FTR versus the Varsity Blondes. And speaking of zombies or whatever, Abaddon will be in action on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's a lot of people circled that with it. If you're booking an AEW versus Impact show here, that's everyone knows Su Yung versus Abaddon. You know, that's kind of the, you know, you mark that one down and circle it.
I don't need the match, but I do need the segment, right? I need something. I need those worlds to collide in some way, them to stare at each other weirdly, and then look at somebody else and attack them. I need something.
Yeah, that's what everyone's.
Yep. On Thursday, a segment of an NXT UK that you'll be very happy to experience is the Supernova 11 sessions. And we don't know who his guest is, but we've already speculated that it's himself.
Yeah, has to be.
Has to be. Jordan Devlin is doing an open challenge for the real Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah. And any thoughts on who's going to answer that challenge?
It was Amir Jordan. So I would say Kenny Williams if he's cleared. Like I said, they already had altercations in the back. And the only reason why he didn't get the shot over Amir Jordan because he wasn't cleared at that point.
Sure.
I believe it was a tag. I don't know if it was against the Hunt. I can't remember who they had a tag team match against where he got where he was injured. But yeah, look for Kenny Williams in this one. There's not a lot of cruiserweights in the UK. Well, I mean, there's some smaller guys. You throw Jack Stars in there. I mean, they lost Travis Banks. That was a shot. Travis Banks was actually in that Worlds Collide match where Jordan Devlin won the Cruiserweight Championship.
Well, you have a 205 original in Noam Dar.
Yeah, he's world title now, though. I don't know if you give him the.
And then you also have Flash Morgan Webster, and you have Mark Andrews.
Yeah, Mark Andrews. That would be a great match, Mark Andrews. But yeah, they're a little preoccupied themselves right now. You got to look at sure. I think eventually down the line, that's a takeover quality match of Mark Andrews and Jordan Devlin.
Yeah, maybe Kaylee Ray will just come out. I mean that's probably the scariest thing that could happen too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Friday. So Friday we have New Japan Pro Wrestling, the climax of their Best of the Super Junior and their World Tag League tournaments. David Finlay and Juice Robinson, last year's World Tag League winners, will be wrestling the Gorillas of Destiny in the World Tag League final. If people recall last year, those two teams were all over each other for the first 2 months of the year, and then the pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. So it was actually lucky for Japan that they got those belts off of those two teams and onto Tanahashi and Ibushi, so that they actually had them going into the pandemic era in Japan. But those teams were battling for the belts, and it seems like they're going to be doing the same.
That's the two great teams. Like I said, everyone loves the Girls of Destiny. And there's another. It's Haku's boys. I mean, that's
right.
Tough guys, man. That's
and no joke. Tama Tonga, the final match of the nine, the round robin tournament. They came out. They attacked Toa Hanare and Hiroshi Tanahashi on the way to the ring, and then Tama Tonga got a submission victory out of Tanahashi with a sharpshooter in less than 4 minutes. So wow. It was a statement-making performance. Mm-hmm. I should mention also the tag champions, Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi, they also had the equivalent number of points, but their 2 losses in the tournament came to those two teams, so they did not make the finals. In the finals of the Best of the Super Junior tournament, we have Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado. Same situation. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Taiji Ishimori had the same number of points, but lost to both men.
Mhm.
So that is the main event of the night, and those two are really excellent workers.
Yep.
So it should be a really good match. Now, when I say main event of the night, the show starts at 4 a.m. So you can main event your breakfast with Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado if you are on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
And then we can move into Saturday. We have Impact's Final Resolution, Chris Bay versus Rich Swann for the Impact World Championship.
Money.
That should be a fun match. I don't.
Yeah, that's money. That's what Chris Bay wanted. He feels his pockets getting heavier as we speak about it.
I don't see Saturday.
Got it.
I don't see Saturday being Saturday, but I think it's going to be a good match.
Oh yeah, exactly. I don't think. Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to give Chris Bay a shot here, unfortunately. But yeah, this is going to be crazy. And I do believe I don't know if I'm going to jump the gun on this one. He's got to fight twice in one day, huh?
Yes. In fact, we'll talk about that in a second. Ethan Page. I should have adjusted my order in here, but yeah, Ethan Page versus Karl Anderson. Also on that Final Resolution show, and then Havoc and Nevaeh versus the Sea Stars on that show. Mm-hmm. And I did just notice that our guest appeared backstage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up. We only have a couple more things to talk about here, and then we will pull Tony Capone into the conversation, and we'll do our interview right on time, starting at 10:30.
Sounds good.
So also on Saturday, we have New Japan Pro Wrestling has their Super J Cup. And as Al alluded to, Chris Bay is in that tournament. So if Chris Bay main events Final Resolution and he is in the opening round of the Super J Cup, there's a possibility that he could be wrestling the Super J Cup and Final Resolution at the exact same time. So
it will be Saturday in some way. It's all Chris Bay all day, right? Jesus.
Yes, it's definitely. I guess it is no matter what Saturday.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess I believe both of those shows are actually pre-taped, so they're taped and then they'll air them on their streaming services. So the people in the Super J Cup, Clark Connors and Chris Bay in the opening round, ACH versus TJP in the opening round, Ray Horace and Blake Christian in the opening round, and El Phantasmo versus Leo Rush. It's a one-night tournament, so those 8 will have their 4 matches, and then they'll have the semifinal matches and the finals. And we'll see it all on New Japan World on Saturday, starting at 10.
Yeah, those are some great matchups right there too. TJP and ACH. The battle of initials, that should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, so Al, I'm going to kick you backstage in a second, and I will bring on Tony Capone, and we'll get that get our special interview underway with him. Let me first update our backgrounds. Let's see. Oh, I don't have one. So we'll do that. And then, all right, I'll talk to you in a few, Al.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good, right? Tell Tony I said hi.
Will do. Good morning, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hopefully, it's a lot better than a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. We tried this a couple of weeks ago. People may remember we had Tony T on. Had a great interview with him though, talking about his broadcasting debut at Jingle Brawl. So. Excited to have you on. Excited to hear what you have to say and to talk about the Jingle Brawl and the North American Wrestling Alliance. So thank you for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having us on board. I mean, first of all, a lot of thanks to Anthony. Tony's great, and can't wait to see him down at Daytona Beach. Our play-by-play guy from Westchester County, Yonkers, New York. I'm from Mount Vernon, New York, so it's a family thing. And great guy. I love Tony.
Yeah. And then we actually are going to have him back on this show following the event. So I'll be excited to hear. Okay, we had the pre-broadcasting debut. We'll have the post-broadcasting conversation. So it should be a great interview with him on the 22nd. So, so we were talking about Jingle Brawl. It's at December 19th at the Daytona Beach Ocean Center, and it's also available on Fight TV for $9.99. There's plenty of well-known names already being advertised, plus a lot of other talent. Do you want to tell the folks watching and listening some of the people that are on the card?
Actually, I mean, it's a full pack card. I mean, we have second generation Harry Smith, David Boy Smith's son, on the card. He's probably one of our bigger highlighters on the card for the most part. Great guy, great family. Was back in WWF with his dad back in the days in the 90s, and can't wait to see him. Really excited about that. And Gangrel, another WWF legend. Can't wait to see him. And we just announced that Gangrel is going to be going up against Cahagas, the Tokyo Monster. And that's going to be, if you know these guys' history and their background, this is going to be a match to be reckoned with. I mean, it's been told to me in the last couple of days that they're actually going to open up the show. So that's like a powerful start to Jingle Brawl, to have them on board and to have them actually open up the pay-per-view event in general. There's a lot of things we're preparing behind the scenes. I'll just bounce all over the place. In the women's division, we just hired Marina Tucker, who's going to be one of our spokespersons for the company. And sweetheart girl. She works with CCW in Florida. She works with WXW, which is owned by Alpha, the Wild Samoan. And she does a lot of stuff with WWE, so she's a very, very talented girl in the business. And signed a deal yesterday with her. So she's on board full time with us. And in the women's division, we have Lindsay Snow, who, many people have seen her in AEW recently, and looks like she's probably going to go there long term. I don't see her working with our company long term. Proud to have her here with us now at this point and work it out. And we just brought in the number one Chilean women's champion, Roma Luchadora, right from Chile. And she's on the contract now for the next 7 months with our company. And she is in the U.S. right now, and she's going to be debuting for us at Jingle Brawl also in regards to the women's part of the show, if you want to say. There's so much going on. Tag team. We have the Slambinos against a New York East Coast group called House of Pain. That's going to be doing nationwide. And we have from the Midwest, the Chicago area, we got the modern day Sharpshooters. So it's going to be a 6-way match. And, it's just the show's been growing day by day. It's just like one thing comes back, one thing goes on, and it's just every day it's a creative challenge to get to where we're at. But we got great people behind the scenes with us. That's really what makes it unique. We're not a big company. We're starting out small. Been around the business over 30 years plus. Been blessed in the business, and it was always about the fans. I mean, if I made money or not, it was always about the fans, and that's me being sincere about it. And we're going to try to do that same enthusiasm, if you want to say, down in Daytona Beach, with our relaunch of the company. And the main event is all dedicated to Ray Hercules Hernandez, one of my best friends that took me under his wing back in the days. God rest his soul. 2-time NAWA champion. And I'm proud to say that we're going to have a special presentation to him for his family right before the heavyweight title match, which is right now, it was supposed to be 15. It's up to 20. It could even go higher than that battle royal. We don't know at this point because there's so many guys from all over the U.S. coming in on their own just to be part of this iconic event, but I'm proud to say that Ray's wife, Debbie, and her kids are going to be there, his grandkids, and they're all going to be in attendance. And I'm also proud to say one of my idols growing up that I can never imitate him, but his style of wrestling is, legendary, Bruiser Brody, and that goes back early days, and we're doing a special tribute to Bruiser Brody's family, and Barbara Goodish, his wife, is going to be there. And, there's a couple of former WWF current Hall of Famers that are going to be the little surprise guests. So, it's growing day by day without giving out the whole story of what's happening in general.
Yeah, it's a super card, really. I mean, it's really, listening to you describe it, bringing on all these talents, it feels like a great big huge super card.
We're working with other companies also. We're working with Impact. We're bringing in Johnny Swinger for Impact. So there's something right now. With Lindsay on the old school tradition. I said that from day one. we got to bring back the old school wrestling where, there was different territories back then, but everybody worked together. Talent went from place to place, not where someone just came in and controlled everything, and it's just the whole look of it. I mean, I'm really trying to come back with my creative team, the whole organization, to give that 80s, 90s vibe where wrestling was like so hot, where there was storylines. There was like 50 minutes of wrestling and, maybe 5 minutes of promotion, where now it's like, 95% of promotion and 5 minutes of wrestling. The fans don't want that. That's why you've seen the numbers are going down. They're going down. They've gone down. And, say, okay, TV's changed. The internet's here. Well, the numbers are still not there because they're not interested in the product. So if this is a gain, it is our company gain. It's just for a failure, it's my failure. But I truly believe in my heart that older crowd, that 35, 40 to that 60 crowd is going to sit back and say to their kids, this is what wrestling was about. This is what it was about. And still incorporated 2021 with what's out here, the new style in general. And it's been a challenge, but we're going to pull it off. We're definitely going to pull it off. And right after this event, I'll come back on the show and, you guys will tell me, yeah, you did a great job, or where I failed. And I take criticism very easily, and I accept it. We're not perfect. No one's perfect, but we're trying to do the best we can. And like I said, over tons of podcasts, I'm not a Vince McMahon with hundreds of billions of dollars, whatever the case is, or Tony Khan with 100 million. I'm a guy that's been in the business, made some money in the business, lost some money. I always say that I made $1 million, lost $1 million, but this is my vision, but this is my team's dream. And with that, we're going to bring it to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the attitude is there. I'm excited to see the product, pro wrestling the way it used to be. One thing I wanted to ask, North American Wrestling Alliance is not a new company. It's a relaunch of a promotion that lay dormant for many years, right? So I'd maybe like to have you talk about the history of the company a little bit.
Sure. Let's go back. I mean, I'll tell you how the formation started in approximately 1988, where 89 into 90, where the name NAWA started. And a lot of people don't know this, and everyone says, why do you have 4 letters as a name of a company? And that goes back to old school. If you remember back in like 89 approximately, when NWA and AWA lost their TV, and I was fortunate enough to be from the East Coast and in the WWF market, but I was able to see NWA, AWA, Global, and all the other companies, the Von Eriks down in Texas. And when NWA and AWA lost their TV, and the companies were going through a lot of, the National Wrestling Alliance and American Wrestling Association combined together as one, as NAWA, and that's the history of the name itself. Back in the days, I've always promoted on my own in the beginning, and I had an opportunity back in 1990. I was booked with Herb Abrams, UWS, as a worker, the World Universal Wrestling Federation, and Herb was a great guy, and he had the talent, and I was able to put people in the seats, and I was working for him as a worker, but I was always intrigued by the promoting side of it. And here's this little guy that was a major powerhouse in the front, and I sat back and I learned, and finally we sat down and said, hey, you got the talent, I got the people, let's put it together. And that's where for about 1.5 years I co-promoted with Herb Abrams and UWF. And then when their demise started to take place in late 91 into 92, we were able to grab their Sports Channel America deal because they were losing a deal. And the executives knew who I was and what I was doing with their company. And we were able to get onto Sports Channel America. It was not long-lived. It was not short-lived. Behind the scenes, there was a lot of backstabbing, if you want to say. I mean, this is a dirty business in general. And it came a point into 93 where, Paul Heyman and myself were talking about doing something together. And he was involved with Eastern Championship Wrestling back in those days. And we had done one thing together at the Manhattan Center in New York City. And it's just, I love Paul. I respect him, but I don't trust him. And I just decided to keep things on my own. And the next thing I knew, I ended up losing my camera crew, Taz, Dreamer, Big Guido, Little Guido, Rocco Rock. All these guys were with me for a couple of years. They, if you want to say jump ship, and it took a little bit of a toll in the company. And for a couple of years, I had to take back and reflect a little bit. But then in the late 90s again, in like 97, 98, we started back up with NAWA again, and primarily running New York, Connecticut area, like this area here. And, we had an iconic show that started in May of 1999, May 20th, 1999, and that was Slam Jam. And it was our flagship show. Everybody was on that show. Bruno Sammartino was our commissioner for 3.5 years. We had Sid Justice there, Jim Cornette, Tommy Rogers, King Kong Bundy, Mario Mancini, the Pitbulls, Public Enemy. I mean, it was just to name a few. I mean, it was just like an incredible show. And I'll tell you, that was the game changer for us, where that show, which is still an iconic show, and we'll be doing it in 2021 again, that separated us from a lot of the independents. And what made that show over the top is that we had under a mask was Shane Douglas, and he ended up winning the belt and taking off his mask, and it's iconic, and it's going to be coming out in the in our digital files, which is being uploaded right now, where he takes the mask off as the NAWA champion that night, and then has the ECW belt, and on camera says, F ECW and F Paul Heyman. I mean, there was heat there behind the scenes, and I knew that. That's why I was able to grab him. And that's another iconic moment. So it's not just the event, it's everything that happened with the event. And that surprise element. No one knew Shane was there. He was under a mask, actually had a towel on when he came to the arena. No one knew. He was in a separate dress room, came out of this little tiger mask, and eventually everyone knew who he was. And that's the type of surprise element that the fans love about my shows. You never know. And I said this, and it's going to happen in Jingle Brawl also. You have to come see it or watch it live to be able to see that special one thing or two things that's going to take place that's not been announced, and that's we're iconic for that.
Yeah, and I was talking with Tony T about that actually as well, is that I think so much time today we lose the surprise because you can't help but promote it. Right? You got something big, you want to tell everybody to come look at it, but because of that, we don't tune in every week because we don't have that big surprise, like you were saying, and it is something that's missing today.
I remember being a young kid going to famous Sunnyside Gardens in Queens, New York, and watching the WWF on tour, not in Madison Square Garden, but the small arenas, their house shows. And there's one particular night, I'll never forget it. And this is where I knew, it was a match with Chiche Strongbow. And I forget who it was he was fighting, but they took his feathered hatpiece, and he was tied up on the ropes, and they were cutting his thing, and he's there crying in the ring. And here I am, a little kid at ringside, and that was the moment where I'm like, no, I got to become this, work out, become this big guy, this and that, because, it was like the Chief needed help. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was like the formation when I was a little kid, And honored to say afterwards, Chiche Strongbow, God rest his soul, was the first person to book me in WWF, that the doors were open through Mario Mancini. Great guy, great agent, and loved him to death. But it was that moment, like at Sunnyside Gardens, that got me into wrestling full time. And, my original trainer that got me out of a gym when the industry was quote unquote closed, they didn't let people in, was SD Jones. He was a neighborhood guy in my area. I was working at a place called Metrofit in Pelham, New York, and came out to me one day. I was doing leg presses, the whole rack, and he's like, hey, kid, do you like wrestling? And here it is, one of my guys I watch on TV. I'm like, of course. And he's like, meet me on Astor Avenue in the Bronx, on a Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. Sure enough, we got into my truck back then and went down to Brooklyn, and the rest is history. Back in the day, there was two camps. There was Johnny Rod's, and then there was another Gleason's camp right down the block. And I was in one class with Tiger Khan, who was back there in those days, and Big Guido from ECW, Mike, Brian Donahue, the football player. And then down the block was like Taz and Dreamer and Big Sally. We all came out of the same group, if you want to say, at different times, within a matter of weeks or months from each other. And, that was great moments, man. I mean, you can't buy those moments. You can't.
No, certainly not. And so I want to talk about 2020, and this is a horrible year for a lot of people, and we're all in desperate need of entertainment. So thank you so much for providing more of it. My question though is, what made this time, amongst all these challenges, what made this time the right time for you to re-enter the market with NAWA?
How we started back, I mean, to be honest with you, it was a year and a half. It's almost 2 years ago. In 2017, long story short, I ended up catching, I got frostbite from a shoot job. I was the executive director and commissioner for the city of Mount Vernon water department, and caught frostbite. Long story short, ended up losing my leg below the knee. I'm a below knee amputee that I walk with a prosthetic right now. And, I was down in like a real depressed state over the last couple of years. And back in the days, Bobcat, Cindy Snow, who was married to Al Snow, gave me a call one day, and she's like, what's going on? And I was in this deep, dark point, and she's like, no, you got so much to give. You were like such a great promoter, one of the oldest promoters that are like respected because of the tradition. And she's like, excuse my expression, get your ass up, get those tapes out there, and let's do it again. And I didn't want it. I was just in that depressed state, just losing my leg and everything else. And after a week of her calling me back and forth, I finally said, okay, let's try this. And started assembling the team, where we're at today. And it's Cindy Snow, Robert Champion, who was our president for, the last 30 years. Behind the scenes, we have Big Primo, from ECW. Sal Graziano for ECW is behind the scenes with us also. excuse me, among like a lot of other people. And they just started reaching out one by one. And we started the formation, and we were supposed to start running early 2020, as everyone's aware. Then the pandemic happened, and I refused to do a show without an audience. To me, that is not wrestling. And if I had to go to Daytona without people in the audience, it would not take place. I would close it down right now. Wrestling is not the same. And they try to have those little monitors. It's not the same. It's not the same reaction. So the pandemic actually helped us out because it got us more organized, to be honest with you, in the last 6-8 months behind the scenes. And when I had this deal with Fight TV, and we were talking about different locations because New York State was totally closed down, and which is still closed down as of today in regards to live wrestling, boxing, MMA events with the State Athletic Commission. The owner of Fight TV recommended a couple of different locations in the United States that were, let's say, pandemic lenient, if you want to say. And the state of Florida was one of them. So we just started looking around, and with their assistance and everything else, we landed at the Ocean Center at Daytona Beach, and the rest is history from there. But it's a 9,000 seat arena, and we're allowed approximately 2,700 people right now. And that's good enough. That's good enough as a start. You know what I'm saying? It's not zero, so we're moving forward with it. We had a very, very big sponsor come on board who wants to remain anonymous, that we're going to be down in Daytona next week, giving away back to the community. They bought a huge block of tickets, and you can't always believe the hype that you see in the public. You got to know what's happening behind the scenes. So whatever's out there, I don't listen to this and that. I know, and if anyone wants to know, you call me directly. My phone is open 24/7, and so that's how it came about to be. And now, like I said, it's December 19th, which is, I think, 10 days away, 11 days away. Jingle Brawl, Daytona Beach, Florida, at the Ocean Center, live on Fight. And then we're parlaying right after that, because they all, they thought we were like a one-hit wonder again. So we parlayed into the old Crockett territory in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we're coming out with our next major event, which is February 13th, No Remorse. And that's at the Dorton Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we're about to announce later on today, March 21st. And it's going to be called Glorified. That's going to be also at the Dorton Arena. So we're moving on. And there's other stuff happening through Milwaukee and Las Vegas and certain other parts of the U.S. that people are going to start seeing. We're not debuting everything one time. We're just letting the let them think what's going on. But we know behind the scenes what's happening. We don't need to put a full schedule out there. We're building up that anticipation, and we're getting great response behind the teams. And we do have creative-wise, company-wise, talent-wise, a great organization. And if I could just parlay one more thing, we're doing a lot with different countries, literally like an international organization. We're doing stuff with American Wrestling Academy, Alberta Wrestling Academy up in Canada. They're in the Alberta area. And we're doing stuff with CCW, which is based out of Florida, but they're very, very big in the Chile market, Brazil market, Venezuela market, in regards to Dominican Republic also. We have something that's about to take place in tour in 2022 in Australia. So there's a lot going on right now, and also in Europe. So it's just going to take time. It's not going to be done overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, and our comeback's not going to be built in a day. But we're here. We're starting back with a vengeance 2020, 2021, and we're continuing from there.
Yeah. I was gonna mention No Remorse on February 13th. I saw that announcement, so it was nice to see that second show. I think that gives people, they look at it and they look at it as more than a one-hit wonder, like you said. I think that was really important for you guys to establish. So, the Battle Royal you mentioned, that's going to main event the show. That is the Hercules Cup, is what that's called, right? Or is that?
It's actually, we announced it originally as the Hercules Cup, but it's basically, it's a tribute to the Hernandez's family and to Ray, our first NAWA champion. So we just wanted to give a special tribute to him, because without him in the beginning, we would not be here, because there could have been other players per se, but it was him that put it over the top, Sure. So with that, a lot of respect for the family, the kids and grandkids, and Debbie has been phenomenal. And I just, in his memory, want to do something for him. So we have a custom belt that was made with his pictures on it, with the NAWA shirt and everything on it, which will be debuted at Daytona Beach. And a lot of stuff behind the scenes, it's personal. It's not just business of wrestling. The whole thing with, Bruiser Brody, that's personal. There's personal connections to the show, more than just what's out there in the public. That's why I think we're a little bit different company. We kayfabe, but we don't kayfabe like other people do. It's just behind the scenes, even in regards to our titles for the events, Jingle Brawl, No Remorse, Glorified. There's always meanings behind it. We just don't pick a number out of a hat and say, hey, let's just call it this. No, there's something that happened behind the scenes with our company that the names mean something, and we're just moving forward. Yeah,
and now, so earlier in the segment here, you talked about a lot of people that we would know and some people that we don't know necessarily going in, that are maybe new names to people. I asked Tony T this question. I want to ask you this question. There are people that we don't know, that we just don't know in terms of they don't have exposure to like a national market. Are there people like that on this card that at the end of the night you think we're going to be looking at and saying, oh my gosh, wow, how have I missed this person all this time? Are there people that you want to put in that category and tell people to watch for?
I'll be honest with you, I won't announce names per se, but yeah, 2,000% absolutely. You're going to go in there saying, like, for example, who's this tag or who's this single competition person in the Battle Royal, but I guarantee it, by the time the night's over, you'll know who that wrestler is, and you'll start looking up his or her background. You'll be like, wow, why isn't this person been out there? So that's one thing that we're a little bit unique about. I look for what I always say, the best of the best on the independent circuit. A lot of times it's just by political contacts or family contacts to get into the business and, like this whole big marketing thing. But I'm out there actually searching the best of the best that's out there independent. And we found a couple, great independent guys that I sit back and like, why did these guys get picked up? I mean, it's just like, doesn't make sense to me how or why they have not gotten picked up, So, yeah, I won't announce names, but by the end of the night and probably when Tony T gets back on the 22nd, he'll be, with his mouth will be dropped like, really, I didn't know this was happening, because I've been keeping him in the dark, and I think that's great with the excitement as a color commentator. Excuse me, he's a play-by-play guy our color commentator is Tony DeVito from ECW. And if anyone knows Tony, he's a great comedian, if you want to say. So he's going to be a great connection with Tony. We're going to call him the TNT connection. They're great guys, both of them. And I'm looking forward to seeing their stuff in action.
Well, everything is very exciting, and I want to. I have I don't know if it's your most recent promotional graphic, but I'll bring it up just to people watching on video. December 19th at the Daytona Beach Ocean Center or on Fight TV, you can catch Jingle Brawl, and you should. You've heard Tony talk about why and all the great surprises that are coming. So tune in. Tony, thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. The door's always open with you guys. You guys have been phenomenal. Consider yourself part of our family, and thank you for having us on. I do appreciate your support. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And folks listening and watching at home, we will catch you tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Wrestling News Show. For myself, for Tony, for Karl, who was on in the beginning, thank you very much. See you tomorrow.